In the bustling aisles of a local supermarket, a scene unfolded that would forever change the lives of three strangers. It was a Tuesday afternoon, unremarkable in every way, until fate intervened in the baby products section. There, amidst the colorful packages and cheerful jingles of children's commercials, stood Sofia Ramirez, a young mother whose world had shrunk to the size of a tin can. Before we dive in, show some love with a like and drop a comment. It really helps us bring you more powerful stories like this one. Alright, let's jump right in. Sofia, just 27 years old, wore a floral blouse that had seen better days. Its once vibrant petals now faded like her dreams. Her jeans, threadbare at the knees, told the story of countless hours spent on the floor, playing with her son. The scuffed sneakers on her feet were a testament to the miles she had walked, searching for a better life for her little family. In her arms, she cradled Ethan, her 1-year-old son. The boy was a picture of innocence in his soft blue romper, adorned with a tiny bear that seemed to dance with each of his movements. Ethan's wide eyes took in the world around him, unaware of the storm brewing in his mother's heart. Sofia stood frozen before the shelf of baby formula, her eyes darting between the prices and the meager contents of her wallet. The fluorescent lights overhead seemed to buzz louder, drowning out the cheerful music playing through the store's speakers. She could feel the weight of Ethan in her arms, growing heavier with each passing moment, as if the universe itself was pressing down upon her shoulders. Just a few feet away, Alexander Grant observed the scene with a mixture of curiosity and concern. At 52, Alexander cut an imposing figure in his sharp navy blue suit, every crease perfectly pressed, every button gleaming. His polished brown shoes reflected the harsh store lighting, and the silver cufflinks at his wrists spoke of a world far removed from Sofia's daily struggles. As Sofia reached out a trembling hand towards the cheapest formula on the shelf, Ethan began to stir. His tiny fists clenched and unclenched, a prelude to the cry that was building in his little chest. Sofia's heart raced. She knew that cry, knew the hunger that fueled it, and the knowledge that she might not be able to satisfy it tore at her very soul. Alexander watched as Sofia's fingers brushed against the container, then withdrew. He saw the mental calculations playing out across her face, the silent plea for the numbers to somehow add up differently this time. But they never did, and Sofia's shoulders slumped in defeat. Ethan's cry, when it came, was not just a sound. It was a primal call that cut through the ambient noise of the store, silencing conversations and stopping shoppers in their tracks. It was the cry of a child who knew nothing of budgets or hardship, who only understood that he was hungry, and his mother, his entire world, seemed unable to help. Sofia bounced Ethan gently, whispering soothing words that caught in her throat. Tears welled in her eyes, threatening to spill over onto her cheeks. She turned away from the shelf, away from the judging eyes of other shoppers, trying to shield Ethan from a world that seemed determined to deny him even his most basic needs. It was at this moment that Alexander made a decision. In the span of a heartbeat, he crossed the distance between his world and Sofia's. His polished shoes squeaked slightly on the linoleum floor as he approached, causing Sofia to look up, startled by his sudden proximity. "Excuse me," Alexander said, his voice soft but carrying an undercurrent of authority. "I couldn't help but notice you seem to be having some difficulty. Perhaps I can be of assistance." Sofia's eyes widened, a mix of surprise and wariness clouding her features. She instinctively held Ethan closer, as if to protect him from this stranger in his expensive suit. I'm fine, thank you," she managed to stammer, even as Ethan's cries grew louder. Alexander's gaze softened, the lines around his eyes crinkling with a warmth that belied his stern appearance. "Please," he said, "allow me to help. No child should go hungry, and no mother should have to face such a choice alone." Before Sofia could protest further, Alexander turned to the shelf and began selecting not just one, but several containers of the highest quality formula. He added them to his cart with a casualness that spoke of a life where such purchases were commonplace, unremarkable. Sofia watched, stunned into silence, as Alexander continued to fill his cart with diapers, wipes, and other essentials. Ethan's cries had subsided to whimpers, as if he too sensed the shift in the air around them. "Sir, I can't accept this," Sophia finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's too much. I could never repay you." Alexander paused, turning to face Sophia fully. His eyes met hers, and in that moment, a connection formed between them that transcended their vastly different circumstances. "My dear," he said gently, "this is not about repayment. This is about doing what's right, about recognizing that we are all part of the same human family." As Alexander spoke, other shoppers began to gather, drawn by the unusual scene unfolding before them. A cashier peered around her register, her curiosity piqued by the whispers spreading through the store. "I have been fortunate in my life," Alexander continued, his voice carrying easily to the growing audience. "But with that fortune comes a responsibility to lift others up when we have the means to do so." Sophia's tears, which had been threatening to fall since she first stood before the formula shelf, now flowed freely down her cheeks. Ethan, sensing his mother's emotion, reached up a tiny hand to pat her face, eliciting a watery chuckle from Sophia. Alexander's act of kindness didn't stop at the cart full of baby supplies. As they approached the checkout, he turned to Sophia once more. "If you're willing," he said, "I'd like to do more, not just for today, but to help set you and Ethan on a path towards a brighter future." The cashier, who'd been watching the entire exchange with rapt attention, began scanning the items with trembling hands. The beep of the scanner seemed to punctuate each moment of this extraordinary encounter. Sophia, still cradling Ethan close, looked at Alexander with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. "Why?" she asked simply, her voice thick with emotion. "Why would you do this for a stranger?" Alexander's response was immediate and heartfelt. "Because 25 years ago, I was where you are now. A kind stranger gave me a chance, and that chance changed the course of my life. Today, I'm merely paying forward that kindness." As Alexander's words sank in, a ripple of murmurs spread through the gathered crowd. Phones were pulled out, capturing the moment for social media, but more importantly, capturing the essence of human compassion in action. The final total flashed on the register's display, a sum that would have been insurmountable for Sophia just moments ago. Alexander handed over his credit card without hesitation, his eyes never leaving Sophia and Ethan. "This is just the beginning," he said softly as the receipt printed out. "If you're willing to accept my help, I'd like to offer you a job at one of my companies, a fresh start with childcare for Ethan, and the opportunity to build the life you both deserve." Sophia's legs nearly gave out beneath her. She leaned against the counter for support, her mind reeling from the sudden turn her life had taken in the span of a single shopping trip. I don't know what to say," she managed, looking from Alexander to Ethan and back again. "Say yes," the cashier blurted out, unable to contain herself any longer. Her outburst broke the tension, and a ripple of supportive laughter spread through the onlookers. Sophia took a deep breath, steeling herself for a leap of faith. "Yes," she said, her voice growing stronger with each word. "Yes, I accept. Thank you. Thank you so much." As Alexander helped Sophia load the supplies into her car, the crowd that had gathered in the store began to disperse. But the energy of what they had witnessed lingered, sparking conversations and inspiring acts of kindness throughout the community. That day, in the aisles of an ordinary supermarket, an extraordinary story of compassion and hope unfolded. It was a reminder that sometimes the most profound changes in our lives come not from grand gestures or carefully laid plans, but from the simple act of one human being reaching out to another in a moment of need. Sophia and Ethan's lives were forever changed by Alexander's decision. But perhaps more importantly, everyone who witnessed or heard about that day was reminded of the power of kindness and the incredible impact that a single act of generosity can have on the world. As the sun set on that remarkable Tuesday, Sophia tucked Ethan into his crib, surrounded by the bounty of Alexander's kindness. And as she kissed her son goodnight, she whispered a promise, not just to Ethan, but to herself and to the universe at large, that one day when she was able, she too would pay forward the kindness she had received. In the quiet of that moment, as Ethan drifted off to sleep, the future seemed brighter than it ever had before. And somewhere across the city, Alexander Grant smiled, knowing that he had not just changed 2 lives that day, but had set in motion a chain of compassion that would ripple out into the world in ways he could never have imagined. If this story touches your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button, share it with someone who needs hope today, and of course, subscribe so you never miss another powerful story. And hey, tap the notification bell so you're the first to know when the next one drops. We've got more inspiring stories waiting for you in our playlist. Dive in, get inspired, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for being here.